Alright guys, so gonna do a review here on Diablo 4. As some of you guys already know, a lot of people have already been playing, doing a bunch of reviews. I wanted to give my final thoughts on the game. There's probably gonna be some things that are repeated, um, but probably not. So first off, start out, I'd like to say that Diablo 4 as a whole, I really enjoyed the character customization. The voice acting was really, really good. Cinematics, great. The sound and the music. I know some people were saying they were getting really tired of hearing the same stuff over and over again. It didn't really bother me all that much. Uh, and I know that as we have more areas to go to, that probably won't get as repetitive. The story, thus far, from what we know, is really good. I enjoyed several of the side quests personally. I think they did a really good job on those. I've played them multiple times, so that was really nice. The actual look of the game has that darker, gritty feel for the environment, and I really enjoy that, kind of like the Diablo 2 days. The open world aspect I think is going to be really nice. I'm pretty excited for it for Diablo 4. It's a little bit different take on the Diablo genre, but yeah, I think it's gonna be fun to play. The combat in general feels really clean. I didn't have any like laggy inputs that I can recall in about the 100-ish hours that I've played over the last 2 weekends. I know that this one's gonna kind of be controversial, but I really enjoy the I really enjoy the scaling world and my reasons for liking the world around us scaling up with us as we level. I know some people are saying, "Oh, you're a lot weaker. You don't feel like you're getting stronger." Things like that. I like it because it kind of keeps the game challenging, at least until you start getting into the end game stuff and actually critiquing your build. And I also like it that it kind of prevents people from power leveling, and you're also able to play with friends regardless of what level they are or where they're at in the story. So you can just kind of jump in and play with them and play in any whatever area they're at. You can play with them because everything scales to your level and to their level at the same time. So it's pretty nice as far as that goes. The current skill system I think feels really good. There's a few things I'd like to change on it, but we'll get into that here in a second. But overall, I think most of the skills and the choices you have currently are not bad. There's a few nodes on the skill tree. Um, like I said, we'll get into those. I enjoy the crossplay. My wife actually plays on PS5. I've got a few friends that play on console, so it's kind of nice to be able to jump in and play with them um, seamlessly. Overall, I think the game is extremely promising, and I think Blizzard can do a lot of really nice things for the game. With that said, let's kind of jump into the game here and kind of go over some of the cons that I found with the game and some of the suggestions I have um, for for Blizzard, I guess. All right, so we go over here, hop in game. So we've got stash tabs over here are pretty nice to have in your inventory. The inventory system, it's whatever. We'll kind of touch on that in a second too. But there's no this all needs to be cleaned up. All this needs to be cleaned up. Um, I think that when I'm in this town, I have the stash here and portals. If I had teammates in my party or party members, when they put a portal, all the portals would appear here. But here's the thing: when I go to this town over here, if we load in, there's no stash on this town. So no stash, and there's when my allies, if they were to put a portal up, I would not be able to see it in this town. I would like to see a stash in every town, personally, not just the main town. And maybe that kind of kills the immersion. I don't know. This is just something that I would like to see. Um, and I would also like to be able to get to my teammates, my allies, at the very least from portals from every town. If not, just going back and being like, hey, I want to right click on my teammates. I want to right click on my teammate's portrait and teleport to them. Go back over here. For the next thing I'd like to talk about is again, a lot of people are saying they want to see another skill. They want another skill in their skill bar because they have to make a choice. I don't personally mind only having this many skills. What I would like to see is give us just another block up here or right here that's just for movement. Not necessarily another skill. Just allow it to be able to be a movement key. Something like that. Or allow us to move around with WASD and then customize our key settings for our skills. Either one's fine with me. But sometimes it does feel kind of weird trying to walk around a mob because you start auto-attacking it, right? So that can be frustrating. As far as the map goes, you know, that's whatever. I don't mind it. What I do mind is how do I see where's my transparent map? Every Diablo games that I've ever played, which is 1, 2, 3, and I even tried out Immortal as much as I didn't like it. Yeah, all of them have a map that's transparent that I can pull up while I'm running around. I can't move or see what's going on behind me while this map's up. So I'd like to see that. For the quest log, if I were to pull up a quest here, if I were to pull up a quest here, I can only track one. So only one pops up over here in my journal. I'd like to be able to track multiple, but I can't. I can only track one. So I think this definitely needs to be updated. And these are things I think the game needs. It's not really a suggestion. It's more of like, hey, why isn't this already in the game, right? Let's see. When I'm hovering over items in my inventory, I should be able to easily read them. I don't like this scroll. I'm not a fan of the scroll thing like this has. I want to be able to just see the whole item. Maybe we have to make the text smaller. I don't know. But the scrolling thing's kind of obnoxious, especially when you're trying to compare items. There are some classes, and I've seen a lot of complaints on this. There are some classes that they feel very weak, and actually the Barbarian is one of them. Initially, early on. Now I will say I played this Barbarian to 25, and I struggled a lot, especially up until probably 20 to 25 area, where I started getting a lot more legendaries, and then the build started coming together. But I had a totally different experience when I leveled a Barbarian and in hardcore, and I think it's like level 22. I was getting a lot of really lucky drops early on, and it wasn't near as rough. But either way, it still felt, the Barbarian and the Druid in general just felt so much weaker comparatively to their counterparts as far as class selection goes. So I know Blizzard's already kind of addressed this and said, hey, you can expect this. We're working to try and balance it out at the end game. I would still like to see some of these classes a little more equalized all the way throughout the game up to the end game, as far as how they feel. But you know, when I'm zoning into places, so like let's see, if I were to walk up here to this dungeon and go into the Forsaken Quarry, when I zone into a place, there's no grace period. So let's say I'm playing hardcore and I decide to zone into something, and there's a bunch of mobs standing at the door, or another player is in my party and they've gone in and I'm going in to help them and they've already pulled mobs to the door. When I zone in, I disconnect. I'd like to see a 10-second grace period possibly, just so if I zone in and disconnect, there's a good chance I actually survive versus dying to something that is completely out of my control like that. And then finally, for things that I think have to be addressed, um, I know that I've heard a lot of people talking about you can set up a widescreen, and I don't have an example of this. You can find plenty, I'm sure, online. Um, but when you play on widescreen, I guess sorceress in general can kind of teleport over walls like this stuff here, or they can off-screen bosses. I think that needs to be changed as well. For suggestions that I have, some things that I would like to see in the game, not necessarily has to be done, but something I would like to see. To start out, I look. You can have up to 4 players in your party right now. I'd like to go back to kind of like a Diablo 2 party size with 8 players, 6 to 8 players, right? I don't see a problem with it being able to run with 6 to 8 players. We already know the game can handle it because you have 12 players when you're fighting one of the world bosses. So 6 to 8 players per party would be kind of nice, especially when we start talking about doing things with the clan later on. Yeah, increase the party size. That's one of the suggestions. Another suggestion I have is like the dungeons themselves need to be randomized. As far as the layout goes, when you walk in, and I know a lot of people complain about this, I'm just going to kind of touch back on it. When you walk in, the dungeons are pretty much the same layout every single time. Randomize the dungeon layouts, not the world. The world out here can stay exactly the way it is. It's always this waypoint's always going to be up here. This dungeon's always going to be right here. That's fine. But when I go in this dungeon, let's randomize the layouts. I know Blizzard can do it because I've done it in the past, so I'd like to see that. I'd also like to not have to backtrack so much because there's a lot of annoying objectives, I guess, that you have inside the dungeon where you have to pick up something that takes a few seconds, run down, place that thing that takes a few seconds. If you get attacked, it can be interrupted. Just a lot of backtracking. You can only carry one of those things, and sometimes you have to pick up 2 or 3 in the whole dungeon. Let's kind of cut down on the backtracking. And additionally, killing all monsters thing is pretty frustrating as well when inside of a dungeon. I don't want to have to kill 100 fucking enemies. I just want to be able to go in and play the game, not worry about having to kill every single creature, and get to the boss and down it. I'd like to see more diversity in the events, in the world events, when you go outside. I've done a lot of world events, and again, maybe this is just beta, but a lot of these events are very repetitive. I'd like to see more diversity. Going back to the stash tab, when I'm holding gems, like quest items have their own tab. This is awesome. Consumables have their own tab. Great. Aspects that you break off have their own tab. Okay. My equipment. Where's my gem tab? If we're gonna do a tab system like this, I don't want to have tons of gems just filling up my inventory. Give me a gem tab. Item standardization as far as where the stats land on each item. So what I mean by that is, let's look at this item. So this item has +1 rank of Death Blow, and it also has +1 rank of Steel Grasp with a bunch of stats in the middle. So why isn't the 1 rank of Death Blow and Steel Grasp at the top together? Because we're adding skills. Let's put those together. Let's always put them together. Let's always put Dexterity in the same spot. Like if I were to look at this item. If I had Dex on this item, I want it to be Dexterity. If we're going to put Dexterity in the second slot here on this item, let's have Dexterity in the second slot on this item. That way it makes it a lot easier when I'm trying to compare items, right? I can just kind of glance at it and say, oh, this has plus skills, this one doesn't. What are the plus skills? Okay, cool. Oh, this has life, but this one doesn't. And I know that because I know where the slots fall for each one of these, right? So, and as you can see, I took these items off and particular because, again, you have plus skills at the top and the bottom of this item, but then I randomly have plus skills as the second or third slot down on this amulet. So that's I think that's something that Blizzard needs to change as well. It's a suggestion I have. Um, Item filters. I would like to see item filters in the game. It would be really nice to have item filters. Just in general, there are other games that do that, like kind of like Path of Exile has item filters. It's pretty nice. Maybe you don't have to go as in detail as far as like people making their own item filters and dropping it, but maybe Blizzard just gives us like a few set item filters, and you can kind of adjust it as you go out through the game. So kind of eliminate those blue and white items on the screen if you want to, because to my knowledge, don't have any. They don't have any use. And maybe they'd even allow you to set it up to where you're looking for plus skills to just this skill or this area of the tree or something like that. I don't know. I'd like to see more skills on this tree. So, for instance, I got Flay. Maybe I want to take I take the enhanced Flay. Maybe I go Battle Flay, and then maybe you put out another 2 or 3 nodes out here, or behind each of these. Kind of customize it more, and doing that for each, or even just one more. Just making a freaking diamond on all these, right? Boom, 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 boom. Give me something to go to. Actually, one more wouldn't work. I would like to see it branch off to 1 or 2 more on each end. That way we've got more options. And again, maybe this is something that'll come in a later update or something like that. I would like to see a DPS meter. I know this is another one of those things that some people want it, some people don't. If it's an option, great. Let's put it in. I'd like to see a DPS meter. It's just kind of, and maybe it doesn't show it to, maybe it doesn't show it to everyone or whatever. Like, I would personally like to see a DPS meter so I can tell how much damage I did in a world boss fight or a party or any of that. I'd like to see health bars over. I'd like to have the option to put my health bar instead of it being here. I want to see it over my character, my resource, right under that. Kind of like I don't know, every Diablo game to my knowledge. Yeah, Path of Exile has it. League of Legends has it. Just give me the option to put the health bar and the resource bar right above my head. And finally, we have no idea, and this is just something I thought about while I was getting ready to make this video. We have no idea what PvP is going to look like. I know they're saying they're trying to balance it. We'll see how it goes. I also know when I'm in here, if I scroll all the way down, it says something like damage reduction for PvP. It says I have a 93% damage reduction. Okay, cool. I'd like to see something like later on arenas. I know a long time ago they had done some sort of arena style thing at a BlizzCon that people had tested and people thought it was really neat. Once we kind of get through the game later and balance, they do end up trying to balance some of these classes, and I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I do wish Blizzard the best of luck, but once they try and balance it, and they think you've got it kind of set in stone, having some sort of arena play where you can go 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, whatever. I think that would be pretty fun. Yeah. So that's about it. Overall, like I said, I've really enjoyed the game. I thought the game was a lot of fun. I think it has a lot of potential, and I look forward to seeing what they do with it. So, anyways, guys, you have a good rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the rest of the beta, and thanks for watching.